Hi everyone. Today we are talking about the kits that Gary created, Freedom Release and Freedom Sleep. And I believe these were in 2015. And you probably heard the airplane fly overhead. And that is a trigger for what Gary created these for. The more that we've worked with oils, and the more of the emotional and the cellular memory that comes into play, the more that Gary was realizing that there's a phenomenon happening that needs to be addressed. Some medical doctors call it PTSD. When you look at, starting with the Vietnam War, for that whole aspect of life, that was truly the most soul-shattering of any conflict, I think, for the men and women who were there. I know that's what I've experienced in working with the many people I've worked with that have been in conflicts with the intention to have freedom for our world. It's not limited to just that, whether it is abuse at home, whether it is extreme bullying in school, whether it is a trauma, a horrific car accident or another accident that you just can't seem to get past. We all are affected very differently. And even the strongest of strong, this can happen to. And I liken it to a scale, where you got a scale, and a lot of us are pretty good at maintaining the harmony in our scale. But over time, things just start to deposit and hold on one side of the scale, so it tips. We never know what it is that's going to tip it all the way down. But there is a point in every human being, and animal as well, every living being, where the scale will go tip and tilt all the way down. And then this phenomenon shows up in our life. So Gary originally created these for the men and women coming back from the conflict in the Middle East. And he created these in 2015. However, I know many, many, many people who were never there, and they have had other significant traumas in their life, and these kits have helped them tremendously. So originally, we're going to go over the oils in the kits and some very quick guidelines and ideas and suggestions. Is there any right way to use these oils? Just don't put them in your eyes and don't dump them in your ears, and you're good. Okay. Other than that, diffusing, applying topically. All right, that's where we go with them. Here's the original set of oils that Gary pulled together that we used for many, many, many years. And there were others too. Surrender, forgiveness, release. I know many times in Coeur d'Alene, in Mexico, Cancun, in Ecuador, in Canada, many places around the world, Gary would teach large seminars, as well as other outstanding professionals on using the emotional uses of oils and cellular memory uses of oils. And we do have some great books as well that will help you. And so those books are Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils, Aromatherapy for Healing the Spirit. It's one of my favorites for this topic. Discover Your Own Magnificence. Inner Transformations is another really good book. EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. AFT, Aroma Freedom Technique. These are all wonderful techniques. If you're a person who does tapping, definitely add these oils in to your tapping practices. So what were the original ones we started with to use for a situation like this? Start out with Valor, okay? We would then go to like Trauma Life. Trauma Life is another one. These are just our basic ones. There's so many you can use. And then we would go to a combination of oils, whether it's Release. First one we had was Idaho Balsam Fir. And then right after that, we had Idaho Blue Spruce. And yes, this is my original bottle from the original distillation of Idaho Blue Spruce. That's right. So the date on this is 2012. And I was the very first one to see the very first distillation of blue spruce cross over and come in to the separator. We'd been working really long hours. There's just a handful of us out at the, we didn't have the Highland Flats distillery back then. We just had St. Mary's. So we would go all the way up to northern Idaho, Naples area, Bonners Ferry up there, and we would literally cut down trees all day and chip. And then at night, we would drive, as soon as we had truckloads full, we would drive the semis all the way down to St. Mary's, where the distillery was, and we would distill. And everybody was dragging tail tired, and I had a little bit more energy than most. So once we got the cookers all packed and the trucks all unloaded, because it would freeze overnight, and then it was like concrete, couldn't get the chips out of the trucks. And we were in serious trouble. So we literally got the cookers all loaded, got it cooking. I said, Gary, you guys go up and eat. I'll watch this. And it was just a couple of farm workers and me there. And all of a sudden, after a period of time, I was watching, making sure everything was working right. A period of time, this gorgeous pink tourmaline with gold flecks came bubbling up, and I'm like, liquid, and I'm like, I thought we put blue spruce in this cooker. And I'm like, what? So I ran upstairs, up the stairs to where the cookers were, and I asked a couple of farm workers, I said, didn't we put blue spruce in this cooker? And they go, yeah. And I'm like, it's pink. And they're like, what? I go, it's pink. They came flying down. They're like, oh my gosh. So I sent one of them to run up and go find Gary. And Gary came down because he was up finally getting some food. It was very, very, very late at night. And he's like, Cherie, I thought we were doing blue spruce. I'm like, this is blue spruce. He goes, what? No way. So that was the very first distillation of blue spruce ever. And I'm privileged to have one bottle left. So there you have it. Another oil then, of course, that came in this order was sacred frankincense. This one has, people say, Cherie, if you could have only one oil in the world. And I'm like, oh my gosh, don't do that to me. Because I love all my oils. But they said, if you literally could only take one, this would be it right here, sacred frankincense, to be honest. Amazing oil. And when this came in, we had huge, in the research Dr. Paul Sheely and I did, with a number of people who had severe anxiety, severe stress, severe brain, where they couldn't even think straight. 3 of them also were veterans. One was Vietnam vet, one was World War II vet, and one was a Gulf War vet. The one who had the absolute worst PTSD was the Vietnam vet. And the one who had the worst chemical toxicity was the Gulf War vet. And the emotions went down, in addition to the PTSD, went down with the toxicity as well. And the one who had the least and the most resilient was our wonderful 80s, gosh, how old is Don Schneck now? 88, 89 maybe? He was a World War II vet. And that guy, let me tell you, he's amazing. So this is the oil that we did the research on with tremendous results. And then we got Northern Lights Black Spruce. So everyone thinks rose oil is the highest frequency at 320 megahertz. Well, blue spruce came in around 428. And then black spruce, I don't have the exact number, but I can tell you that Gary told us that black spruce is above blue spruce. So this is and we get their black spruce from our Northern Lights farm up in northern British Columbia, okay, at Fort Nelson. So these were our original ones, and these are what we used for a really long time, in addition to like surrender and forgiveness and harmony and present time and all these others. But then Gary said, you know what, we need something that's a little different for what's happening in our world today. He created Freedom Sleep and Freedom Release. In the Freedom Release kit, there each one, Freedom Sleep and Freedom Release, there is definitely a step-by-step guide on how to do and how to use these, step by step. So I don't need to take a lot of time talking about it today because it comes with the guide, okay? And then there's a little card for the follow-up after you do a series of the sessions with the oils. Then there's this follow-up card on exactly what to do for the following 2 to 3 months or longer, if you feel that that would serve you best. So there's one in the Freedom Release Kit, same directions for the Freedom Sleep Kit. Directions as well. So these kits are amazing. They have been out of stock for quite some time, and I am happy to say that Young Living is bringing them back for a limited quantity. Why are they out of stock? Because some of the oils are very, very hard to source. Now, triggers.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
There's a plane flying overhead. That may be a trigger. A smell may be a trigger. I know after my car accident in 1986, I could not have anybody sit behind me at all. I could not have anybody sit behind me. At church, I would sit in the very last row against the wall where the chairs were. And if that was full, I would go sit on the steps away so no one could be behind me. I just couldn't have anybody behind me. It was the strangest thing because I never really thought of myself as a fear-based person. So there's a number of things, a surgery that goes awry and it's like feeling unsteady or uncertain. Just a number of things that could set us off. Somebody who has a loud noise unexpectedly, just so many things. That's why diffusing while you're sleeping, wearing these oils, diffuse in your living room, in your kitchen, wherever you are, diffuse. And start out, if you've got severe, where the trauma is so deep in you, start out real slow and start out with just 1 to 2 drops of an oil. Very gently rebuild that trust and that cellular memory and help your body remember what it's like to function both physically and emotionally healthy again. So the oils I'm going to talk about now are in this kit, Freedom Release. The actual Valor oil is in the Freedom Sleep kit, but I also like to start it with the Freedom Release kit, and you can buy Valor as a single oil blend from Young Living. You don't need to buy it in the kit as well. So with Valor, okay, what's in it? Black spruce, blue tansy, camphor wood, geranium, and frankincense. That's what's in Valor. I always start with Valor. Gary said Valor is an oil that's like a gate opener for us, both energetically and cellular memory, where it literally helps us open the gates that are closed or stuck so that we actually can move through things without creating additional trauma. So there's Valor. Our next one is Divine Release. Now what's in it? Royal Hawaiian sandalwood and Roman chamomile and frankincense and melissa and geranium and grapefruit and blue cypress and hinoki and helichrysum, bergamot, rose, ledum, and angelica root. That's what's in Divine Release. So how does Divine Release compare to traditional release? There we go. Well, the oils are a bit different. So Divine Release is like release oil, but amped up quite a bit, because what was found is that, sometimes in order for things to get lifted out of us, or even if you're building and you can use just like, say that you can use a little tweezers to pull something out that is just annoying you. But say sometimes you need a jackhammer. You just need a jackhammer to go in because it's so stuck that you need help freeing things up around that to lift it out. And that's your Divine Release. And so if you are in a place where release oil did not work really well for you, it wasn't enough, immediately go to Divine Release. And what you can do is put it in the diffuser. But the other thing that I like to do is I like to put it on wherever I am feeling like something is gripping in my body, or if it's emotional, I'll just sit and smell it and smell it and smell it. I'll put it on my brainstem, the back of the neck, forehead, top of the head, okay? And I just smell it. If I feel my heart just like gripping and tightening and getting really sharp, I'll put some on my heart, but I'll keep smelling it. And if you have a beard, definitely put some in your hands and rub it on your beard. Keep it in your pocket. This would be an absolute, these oils are a godsend. Is there one that's better than the others? No. I would say for what? But I would say these kits are amazing. So there's Divine Release. The next one is TR Care. And TR Care, what's in it? Well, we've got, I would say, a whole lot of oils. Blue cypress and ylang-ylang and lavender and Roman chamomile and tangerine, Royal Hawaiian sandalwood, frankincense, galbanum, that's right, you heard me, galbanum, orange, white fir, ruta, helichrysum, Spanish sage, coriander, lemon, rose, cinnamon bark, jasmine, bergamot, cedarwood, geranium, valerian, lime, black spruce, blue tansy, divana, angelica root, and hyssop. That is all what's in this oil. So you're like, oh my gosh. Well, Gary is the master of blending, and he does it at the right percentages. So the frequency is all about amping it up, making it more powerful, but yet more gentle. Basically, like this. Then Trauma Life. Okay, so if Trauma Life just wasn't quite enough or it was too intense for you, go to TR Care. And what do I mean by like that? Sometimes what's happened to us is so damaging that puts us in a place where we're exceedingly fragile. Exceedingly fragile. And we feel a lot like this, where it's just stark and cold and bleak and where there's no life. There is no life. There's no life because we can't see it because of what's happened to us or around us. And so as a result of that, Gary's like, we need something that is even more powerful, but more gentle. So he was able to accomplish that with those oils. TR Care. Very powerful to handle the intensity that has broken us so deeply in our soul and our spirit. Just broken us, shattered us. And that's this oil, TR Care. So there's your difference between that and Trauma Life, okay? All right, now our next oil is Joy. And we all know about joy. Now the frequency of joy, I happen to have this one memorized, 188 megahertz. And this is also the frequency very similar to that of healthy functioning adrenal glands. And so joy oil, you can buy joy, of course, as an individual oil. It's a blend. So what's in it? Bergamot, ylang-ylang, geranium, lemon, coriander, tangerine, jasmine, Roman chamomile, palmarosa, and of course, Bulgarian rose. That's what's in joy oil. And so joy oil, you know, quite a while ago, I happened to be privileged to get some books and took some courses in something called the Course in Miracles. And it's inspired writings. And one of the phrases in there said, divine love will bring anything unlike itself up to the surface for healing. And so it was one of the lessons, actually. Divine love will bring anything up to the unlike itself up to the surface for healing. Which means that whatever is in the way of you feeling and experiencing that deep, abiding, unconditional love, whatever the source is that it comes from for you, this oil joy will bring it up front and center right here. Whatever is literally in the way. So a lot of people experience their issues actually getting more heightened with joy. And some people experience it right away, some never experience it at all, and some experience it 10 years later. So the joy oil is in this freedom release kit. And the reason why it is because in order to be released from the bondage of what is happening inside of here, that's all inside of here as a result of what's happened around here, we have to lift out and lovingly release those things. But you can't release what you don't know is there. You can't transform what you don't know is there. You just know that you're different and you're not the same. And so with joy oil, I don't recommend putting it in the diffuser unless you're alone, because you don't know how it's going to trigger others. It is photosensitive, so don't wear it on a bright sunny day where your skin's going to be touched by the sun. You can put it where the sun doesn't shine and so forth. But this is an amazing oil. And don't be afraid to use it. Just know that if you start using it and you got issues coming up, go, it's working. There's a saying that we have when we really choose to live a holistic life, and that is better out than in. Because if it stays in, it'll just continue to fester and cause problems. But if we can get stuff up into our conscious awareness, and then we can get some help to release it and then transform it. So that's our joy oil. The next oil, of course, is freedom. And freedom is in both the Freedom Sleep and the Freedom Release Kit. And this freedom oil, what's in it? Sacred frankincense, Idaho blue spruce, vetiver, lavender, peppermint, palo santo, valerian, and ruta, or rue. So let's talk about those oils. Sacred frankincense, Idaho blue spruce, palo santo. Very, very, very sacred oils from each of the cultures of the people who live in those lands. Palo Santo is considered to be a frankincense of South America, used by all the shamans. Sacred frankincense, of course, comes from Oman. And I was privileged to be there and privileged to actually get some of the sap from the tears from the sacred frankincense tree, the oldest one in the world, over 800 years old. And we planted trees there in our small grove, I guess, for distillation. And I was there when Young Living, Gary specifically, was gifted by the royal family thousands of sacred frankincense trees from their nursery in order to replant and refurbish Oman, and gave us permission and privilege to then distill and gather the tears of the frankincense and distill and harvest. Then we have Idaho blue spruce, North America, one of the most sacred trees of the original people from North American continent. So you've got the top three: Palo Santo, Idaho blue spruce, and sacred frankincense. All very high level sacred. And then you've got some very grounding oils like vetiver. Vetiver is one of the most powerful grounding oils, especially for the brain. Brain stem, inhalation, powerful. And then valerian. Well, we all know what valerian does for the central nervous system. There's so much research on that, to literally calm and reroute trauma out of the central nervous system. And then, of course, ruta. Ruta, again, comes from the Mediterranean, and also we get it from South America. And that oil is amazing on how it works to shift and transform communication in the central nervous system. And then, of course, we have peppermint. Why? Because peppermint is a driver. Peppermint's like, okay, team, come on. I'm carrying us all across the finish line. Load on, jump on my back, or get ahead of me, because I'm peppermint and I'm going to bring us all home. I'm bringing us all across the finish line together. And so that's peppermint. That's what's in Freedom Blend, one of the most powerful blends there are. And if you feel like you're in bondage or a slave, or where you literally you don't have the level of freedom in your life, that everything in you is screaming for you to capture and to live, this freedom oil is amazing, no matter what it is. If it's you're stuck in a job and you can't seem to find your way out, gathering and freedom oil are pretty cool. If you find yourself stuck in any situation in your life where you are not living the life that you know is screaming to come out of you, this oil, freedom, is powerful. And then, of course, transformation. This is one of my favorite oils. And Gary actually had a convention called Transformation, because he said it's time to transform our life. It's time to not settle anymore. It's time to take what is, acknowledge what is, honor what is, what got us to where we're at right now, and then literally, like the caterpillar to the butterfly, transform our life and transform who we are. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of faith, it takes a lot of trust, and there's a wonderful word in another language called chutzpah, other than the English language. It takes a lot of chutzpah. But I want to talk about a caterpillar. A caterpillar crawls on the ground. A caterpillar is happy eating whatever it can get to, crawling on the ground. But it is also very low on the totem pole. if you will, and on the food chain. And many things can capture and eat that caterpillar. And the caterpillar can climb trees and get up high. But what happens? Those caterpillars that literally listen to the yearning inside of themselves that say, I don't want to just crawl around my whole life. I don't want to just crawl around. I've got more to do, and I know it's in me. So what do? They start to spin a cocoon of safety for the transformation, okay? Which is a lot of what we've just talked about, the cocoon of safety, creating a cocoon of safety emotionally for the shifting. And then what they do is once they're inside this cocoon, the caterpillar becomes liquid. Their whole beingness becomes liquid. They are no longer this dense physical. They are liquid. That's right, liquid. Talk about scary. You know, would you sign up for that? Okay, yeah, right now you're crawling around, but you know, you can fly. You have that ability to fly. It's in you. It's in your DNA. But first, you have to make a dark place for yourself to hide out, and then you have to totally let your body become completely liquid. How many of you would go, yeah, I'm in, let's do that? You'd be like, no way. I'm settled. I'm satisfied. I'll just crawl around for a while. So I'm going to ask you, is crawling around really bringing you what you came here to do? Is crawling around really helping you, letting you become who you are truly destined to be, and everything that's inside of you that says, I'm frustrated, I'm depressed, I have anxiety, I have all these things, because for some reason inside of us, we are not living who we are created to be, and who every aspect inside of us knew what we're capable of being. That's why a lot of reasons why we have all these emotional things going on, because very simply, we hold ourselves back for whatever reason. No blame, no judgment, no guilt. We have our reasons. But I'm encouraging you with these oils, specifically transformation. This is one I use every single day. Every day. With transformation and these other oils. Maybe start stepping baby steps in the direction of, you know what? Yeah. There is more in me than what I'm living right now. Is it scary? You bet. A lot of times it is. But am I willing to take a baby step in that direction? Absolutely. That's your transformation oil. So now we're moving on to our Freedom Sleep Kit right here. And remember, all the kits come with the guidebook and a little card for directions on how to use them. So we start out with Valor, okay? Again, black spruce, brutanzy, camphor wood, geranium, and frankincense. Frankincense, Boswellia carteri. And why am I recommending Valor in the Freedom Sleep? Because Valor is all about aligning, opening, and calming, so that you get the sure steady. And if you have any of these challenges going on, many people who don't sleep well. They don't sleep well at all. So Valor, where do you put it? You put it on the back of your neck for sure. And for some of you, you want to put it on the top of your head. Temples is another really good spot. Rub it on your temples. And for some of you, the bottom of the feet. This is a really, really phenomenal oil. And again, if you're a gentleman, definitely put it in your hands, rub it in your mustache and your beard. But this is a great oil to put on when you're going to start to work with your Freedom Sleep Kit. Now, if you have a challenge sleeping, I'm going to segue and come right back. Cortistop. It's a supplement from Young Living, an amazing supplement. And I have, since it came out in 2002, I always had a challenge of waking up between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. And I had a hard time falling back asleep. And I never felt like I really went into deep sleep because my stress level was exceedingly high, both emotionally and physically high with what was going on in my life and my body at the time. And so when Cortistop came out, I started with 1, little bit of results, 2, a little bit more results, 3. So now I take 3 every night, and I can just sleep through the night. The formula, originally we had separate formulas for men and women, but now we have one formula that has been combined and works for both men and women. I would highly, highly, highly If you've got sleep issues, if you have a hard time falling asleep, use these oils. If you have a hard time staying asleep, definitely add cortisop to these oils. I have been taking it every night since 2002. Our labels say to do things differently because that's what the FDA requires. But I can tell you, I've been taking it every night since 2002. And it has an extreme positive effect on my body. So let's go to the next oil, Inner Harmony. Inner Harmony is all about quieting those thoughts. What's in it? Geranium, lavender, Royal Hawaiian sandalwood, sacred frankincense, ylang-ylang, Idaho blue spruce, and Roman chamomile. Inner Harmony is about stopping the traffic jam in your brain, stopping the traffic jam in your neurology, stopping the crazy, crazy, crazy bumper car on steroid speed. Boom, 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 boom. What's going on? Stopping the gerbil wheel from spinning, stopping all of those things that affect us where we can't literally downshift to neutral so we can sleep. That's what Inner Harmony is about. Inner Harmony is literally about shh. It's time to quiet down inside. It's time for everybody to be cohesive. It's time to create a harmonious environment within our beingness and within our energy. And this is also a really good one to diffuse. So that's Inner Harmony. Aroma Sleep. What's in it? Lavender, geranium, Roman chamomile, bergamot, tangerine, sacred frankincense, valerian, and of course rue. And this is all about helping you to go to sleep, helping you to physically just get you shifted, physically get your body to where everything that is amping stops amping. Literally, the brakes are gently put on. Your vehicle, your beingness, is shifted from fifth gear overdrive on the super highway of craziness of life, okay, and trauma, to shift down, 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 down to get you to neutral. Okay? Let your beingness, your vehicle, come to a sliding, gentle stop, and then shift into park for the night. I hope that was an analogy that you understand. You don't want to put this in your car, of course, but looking at your body like a vehicle, I think many of you can understand that. Because you would never want to try and go into park from fifth gear overdrive. No way. Not happening. Okay? Not happening. You have to go shift, shift, shift. Hit it at neutral for a while. Bypass reverse. Hit it at neutral. Let everything calm down. And when the vehicle is completely wheels no more turning, meaning you're no more turning inside, everything is, then park for the night. That is, okay, that's our wonderful Aroma Sleep. And I think you're going to like it because the oils in there do exactly that from a multifaceted approach. They're exquisite. And then, of course, the oil that I've already spoken about, Freedom oil. This will help you have better dreams. If you can want to couple it with Dreamcatcher or Build Your Dream or Live Your Dream, those are all the Freedom, and those oils are really powerful oils. I love this Freedom oil. It will help you to shift because there's so much research on how that aspect of us, which is not our conscious brain, still keeps working even when our body is laid down to sleep. And if we can utilize that and create ideas, suggestions, inner knowings, and just those gut feelings that head us in a better direction with confidence, do that while you sleep. Use your Freedom oil. So I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of information here about our wonderful two kits, Freedom Release and Freedom Sleep. And if you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, please do us all a great gift and write down how you're using these. Write down the results. Type in the comments. Let us know, because we all learn from each other. You know, these books and these little cards, they're guidelines. They're just guidelines. Is it the only way to use these? No, it is not. Absolutely not. We learn so much from each other, but we only learn when we share. So please have the courage to write down in the comments how these oils are helping you. Because I can tell you with some very unthinkable things that have happened in not only my life, but other people's lives that I've had the privilege to help with this. They've been given not only their life back, they went from extreme trauma and victim to moving through the process to surviving, and then to thriving, and then to soaring. So if that sounds like that's something, the direction you'd like to head, give these oils a try.